sticking around for the last session. Hi, everyone. My name is Mihai. We're going to talk a little bit about a couple of billion peoples that we're going to end up in the Metaverse. I wonder, first of all, if we know what the Metaverse is. Probably most of the people started to hear about the Metaverse, a couple of weeks ago, when a guy suddenly changed the name of something we all used, like Facebook, to something that he kind of adopted, which is Meta. So I think the Metaverse exists for a while, especially for gamers. Gamers usually tend to know what the Metaverse is, but all of us, we are already in the Metaverse for a while. Since we started to have digital identities, digital relationships, most of our life right now is digital. So in a way, the Metaverse is not just the spatial representation of virtual worlds or a gaming environment. It's especially an exoskeleton for our identity and our mind. And that's actually the next evolution of the internet. Is not only the spatial internet, it's ourselves behaving in a digital space that we started to build 20 years ago, and now it's accelerating at fast pace. But let's go a bit back and see where this is going. So, who does really believe that Facebook is owning the Metaverse? It's just a smart rebranding, of course. But basically, it all comes down to the concept that that's old as the world, at least as the Romans, who very nicely put it, that everyone wants bread and circus. Internet got it right. From something very open, it transformed into something with 4 major dominating platforms. And actually, what happened is that something shifted since then. Think about who is bringing circus to us. We all want circus, and in the 20th century, the circus was brought to us by Hollywood, who manufactured celebrities. Recently, in the 21st century, it happened the other way around. Actually, it's the users who started to vote for their celebrities on social media, and how we got to the creator economy and to the influencers. The only problem is that this led to another prison, which is that creators, no matter how famous they are, they're actually on those platforms, and in a way they're farmed by those platforms. They 100% depend on them. So what we're seeing is an incredible trend among all the creators to move into their own spaces, take over with them their belongings, their community, their content and their rights, and move into their own owned spaces, and becoming, transforming from static content creators into actual business owners and community leaders. And that leads the fans to follow them. Why? Because they are much more invested. They start to become stakeholders of a leader instead of just anonymous followers. They earn voting rights. They can even make money with what the creator does and invest again in that creators and receive incredible benefits from there. Web3, it's actually the way into which those new business owners, those new creators are going to transform and move their assets. NFTs are going to become a way to own, to engage, and to monetize, and actually to transact. That's one of the components of Web3. Smart contracts is just trustless operations. Managing IPs, managing royalties. Companies and communities are becoming DAOs. with voting rights, with DAO tokens that do have a value, not only a monetary value, but also social value. And finally, DeFi is the way for everyone, creators and the fans, to literally become independent financially and to take ownership and sovereignty of their own wealth. They become their own bank. They don't depend on a system. And that's a total decentralization, but it's a regain of power from becoming just dependent on big corporations to becoming their own, the masters of their own destiny. So there's three essential things that I believe are fundamental into the metaverse, and especially the open metaverse. And I purposely started to talk about Meta and Facebook because that's not the open metaverse as we imagine it. You can imagine that Facebook, all those big corporations will still keep serving the interest of their shareholders and of their profits. They will not care so much about the users. The open metaverse, by opposition, it's that open, decentralized world that is permissionless because you don't have to ask permission to anyone. You don't have gatekeepers. You just do it. It's composable, meaning that everything you own or you create can be mashed up with anything else, and you still keep track of what's going on. Keep track of the origin, keep track of the royalties, keep track of the money and the flow of the money. Very rarely happens in closed systems. And finally, it's interoperable. Anything can be moved among spaces, among domains, platforms, and ecosystems, on DeFi, on DAOs, in the metaverse, back and forth. The thing is, Web3 is quite complex. In Web2, that's the beauty of it. You know, people don't mind as long as it's simple. They don't mind being farmed, they don't mind fake news, they don't mind a bunch of things because it's very hard to move away. Web3 has a very, very steep learning curve, obviously. Tell anyone to first go to Coinbase, do a KYC, connect their bank accounts, then create a wallet on MetaMask, go mint their NFTs on Open, and then get them on OpenSea and transact on some decentralized exchange. Good luck with that. But I think this is the beginning. We need to simplify all that. We need to make a better user interface, better flows, better processes. So precisely the attractiveness of the open metaverse and the Web3 is that we do have enough incentives for the creators and the fans to engage, as we've seen. But the challenge is, how do we actually make that much easier? That starts probably with custodial, so just login, password, payment by credit card, but in the back end, provide a wallet and the independence, so when people are ready, they can easily connect and get their wallet. Or if you're already in the Web3, you can simply connect your wallet and be free. I would end with that, which is a quote that I love, because we all trade usually liberty for either safety or simplicity, which is not necessarily leading to a best place in the world. And I think the way that the next billion people will end up in the metaverse is essentially connected to that concept that we must help them, but at the same time, they have to understand that it's much more to earn and to gain from being free. And that's the last idea I wanted to leave on the table. You maybe remember that one big company by the name of Google had like a motto under their brand name, "Don't be evil." At the end, they actually removed it. The beauty of Web3 is that you cannot be evil. It's written in the code, and you can't tweak that. You don't need a prince or a gatekeeper to ask permission or to depend on. So hopefully we can all build together the open metaverse and bring together the next billion of creators, fans, and ourselves into that space. Thank you. Don't hesitate to reach out.